Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Tuesday, February 20th. Okay, so we have the moon in Cancer again all day. She's in her rulership here. She's in her comfort zone, if you will. And again, just reminder that the moon in Cancer makes us very introverted, makes us kind of wanting to stick to what is tried, tested, true, and familiar. Very attached to the past, very much romanticizing, really looking at the past through some rose-colored glasses there in order for us to feel good about settling, about sticking to the same old, which of course is just a delusion. And under the sun now in Pisces energy, Delulu land is the place to be. So there's going to be a lot of energy coming at us again here today. If you haven't listened to the ascension forecast for this week, I'm going to recommend you do so. We are in the thick of it. There are a lot of astrology aspects that are popping off for the first time in years. We are closing out cycles. We are preparing to enter into new ones. And of course, Pisces season has us all up in the fields, all up in the shadow work, all up in the healing realm, which of course feels very uncomfortable from time to time. There are 11 different aspects taking place here today. 7 of them will involve the moon. The moon in Cancer going to make an awkward interaction with the sun in Pisces energy. This is some water on water action, but again, it's not the most favorable. It's not the most negative either. However, what we are going to do is really feel the pull in looking back. We have a lot to review. We have a lot to process. There's a lot of thoughts, ideas, feelings, flashbacks, memories coming up into our awareness for us to process that, integrate the good, integrate the bad, stand in a place of wholeness in order for us to heal, to change, to transform, and to shed a little bit of a layer of our ego selves. Again, Pisces energy is the ego death that we need in order to lighten the load in preparation for us to jump into a brand new astrological calendar when we dive into Aries season. Anytime that the moon and the sun come together, there's some sort of an emotional awareness. And you best believe with the Cancer energy, we're all up in our feels, semi-defensive, semi-protective. The Pisces energy, of course, has us floating in some high highs of imagination, of creativity, of really understanding the metaphysical realm where our spirituality, our intuition is concerned. And then we deep dived into the darkness, really understanding the deepest, darkest parts of ourselves, our fears, our doubts, our insecurities, a lot of the conditioning, a lot of the programming, keeping us from actually detaching from the past and able to clear the space, clean the slate, so we can start building towards something new. Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money. She's in this Aquarius energy now, just a couple of days away from her resurrection and renewal with Mars, the masculine energy. We are seeing Venus go through some very deep introspection here in the Aquarius energy. Yes, we're thinking visionary. Yes, we're thinking about what it is that we need to do in our physical realms to rearrange, redesign, reconstruct our physical realms to support happiness, joy, pleasure, safety, security, stability. But this interaction with the North Node at this particular point in time is an interesting one because, of course, we just had Chiron and the North Node pop off here yesterday. We're still very much under that influence. Chiron being the wounded healer, if you will. This is a positive interaction, which means that we are seeing a little bit of growth, a little bit of resolution, a little bit of an indicator where it is that we are making some major changes in our heart space to our values, and therefore very much reflected in the changes that we need to make in our relationship dynamics, in our physical realm where routines are concerned, and in our financial realm as well. This is putting us in a situation where we're a little bit more open. Of course, we're in Pisces season, so empathy, compassion, very much running high. This is opening up our heart space, understanding where it is that we now have a willingness to kind of do the work, if you will, to get real with ourselves, to understand where it is that we have opportunities to grow, where we have an opportunity to learn from past patterns, behaviors, situations, circumstances. We're just more open to really kind of seeing where it is that we could push the boundaries of our comfort zone, where it is that we could be showing up a little bit more for ourselves and therefore showing up for those that we have deemed worthy of our love, time, energy, and attention. That North Node is trying to get us on the right path. And right now in our heart space, we're trying to figure out what that actually looks like. Now, things are going to get a little bit tough here because the moon in Cancer going to get in the boxing ring, fight it out with the North Node in Aries, then with Chiron in this Aries energy as well, just moments apart, if you will. Again, feeding off of the closing of the chapter and initiating a new chapter that the True Node and Chiron just went through here yesterday. If you want to take a listen to yesterday's energy forecast to understand that, there is a private podcast on my membership tier that you can tap into as well. And again, listen to the ascension forecast for this week to kind of understand some of these very pivotal energy shifts. A square does not feel good. Creating conflict and tension within our emotional realm doesn't feel good. This is a particular energy where, again, building off of the aha moments, the revelations, the openness that we just had between Venus and the North Node, the moon being in Cancer, suddenly we just squash that. We don't want to think about the future. We don't want to think about our opportunities to grow. We don't want to even think about anything other than our emotional connections that we're having a hard time detaching ourselves from as far as the past goes, in order for us to kind of break away and again jump into a new karmic chapter. The moon definitely has a hold on us here in this Cancer energy, and the tension and conflict that we are going to be illuminated to is where it is that we're having fears, doubts, insecurities, and a huge amount of vulnerability in considering what it is that we have to let go of in order to start building towards something new. The interaction with Chiron, again, it's a square, it doesn't feel good, which means that instead of being illuminated to where it is that growth has happened, the ability to heal, the ability to evolve, we are kind of sitting in our funk. We're holding on to our wounds. We want to whine, we want to cry. Of course, it is Pisces season. You know how I feel about that. So this definitely is going to drag us all the way down into the depths of our darkness to really understand what is the blockage in our emotional realm, in our mental realm, in our physical realm that has such a hold on us, keeping us connected to some of the things that we've outgrown, knowing damn well it's time for us to move on. So Venus comes back into play. She makes a positive interaction with Chiron. So as you can see, there's a lot of interactions with the North Node, with Chiron, because of course they just popped off. They closed a chapter and opened a chapter essentially. Now we're having to redefine our emotional perspective, our emotional stance on what it is that we want to do from here. So Venus interacting with Chiron at this particular point in time, again, we are still stepping into where it is that our heart is asking us to do the hard things, which just happen to be the right things for us to do in order to start building momentum towards future vision, future dreams, future goals. Venus being in this Aquarius energy, she wants freedom, she wants independence, she wants distance, she wants space in our relationship dynamics, in our social scene. And at this particular point in time, we need that detachment from the people around us in order for us to establish our own energy, our own vibration, our own frequency. This is a positive interaction with Chiron, which means that we're tapping into the healing energies, the wisdom, the knowledge, the resources that we've already gained through our past experiences in order to build ourselves up, to establish what it is that we need to do for ourselves, what it is that's going to make us happy, what it is that's going to give us an overall stability that at this present moment we're currently lacking. The moon in Cancer going to sextile, beautiful interaction with Uranus, the great awakener in this Taurus energy. Now here is an interesting vibe. This is an interesting vibe because, first of all, Uranus wants change. He wants spontaneous change. He wants to snap his fingers and really just see us kind of pivot into a new path, into a new direction. In the Taurus energy, again, it's a fixed earth sign. We resist change at all costs, even though that we know it's the best thing for us to do. It's exactly what we need to do in order to create a different result, a different outcome. The moon in Cancer always has us holding on to the past. But this Uranian energy, because it's a sextile, it's a positive interaction, sends a lightning bolt down into us, into our emotional plane, if you will, and shows us where it is that, okay, we may not be totally ready to let go of the past and some of our attachments. However, we are open to seeing where it is that we could do the old things that we've been doing in a different way. Again, slight change, baby step, very, very small adjustment. However, it is a change. It is opening us up to thinking a little bit more, I'm going to say futuristically and long term than the moon in Cancer would prefer us to actually be thinking and feeling in. However, there's a little bit of a nudge, if you will, where it's almost like we feel safe enough to actually let our minds wander, let our heart space wander into what it is that we could be doing just slightly differently in order to, again, create a different result. The moon then goes ahead, bumps into Mercury in a very positive way, which does suggest that we are having a little bit of insight on where it is that emotionally and mentally speaking, we have arrived at a decision point, at a choice point on what it is that we're willing to try, what it is that we are willing to adjust, what it is that we are willing to change, even as small as it may be. Let me also just say that if you find yourself in an interaction to have a heart-to-heart conversation, I don't know how well it's going to go just because Mercury being in this Aquarius energy isn't really emotionally attached. Of course, the moon in Cancer is, but Mercury being in Aquarius energy has us thinking very far ahead. The moon, of course, in Cancer has us very much attached to the past. But coming together, we can gain a little bit of insight on what we have power and control over in this present moment, in the here and now. And that may be just a kind of matter-of-factly state where it is that we're at, how it is that we're feeling when you find yourself in a situation to be conversing with other people. The sun in Pisces energy, going to semi-square, create a little bit of tension and conflict with that north node in Aries energy. So again, the sun in Pisces, we're still trying to adjust to this energy. It's very heavy, very emotional, very fluid. This is the time to do the shadow work. We have to feel it in order to heal it, and sometimes that does not feel nice. We have an ability with this particular interaction to understand where it is that, again, the sun in Pisces does have us focused on the past. Why? Because we have to do a review. Why? Because we're closing out a chapter. Why? Because we're at the end of the zodiac wheel. Now, it does kind of put us in a situation where we are kind of caught up in the past, where our emotions, our mental plane, our memories are concerned. Of course, that north node in Aries energy, trying to get us on the right path to move forward, to move into the future. However, we're not ready to do that right now. Why? Because there's a lot to unpack before we can go ahead on another quest, on another adventure. The Pisces season in its entirety has us all caught up in the feels, has us doing the shadow work, has us doing the soul contract review, if you will. And this particular interaction is going to show us where it is that we're not really prepared to take a step into the future, take a step on this brand new path, take a step into the opportunity to grow, evolve, and heal. Because right now we're kind of being washed back into the past to see situations and circumstances from a different set of eyes, so we can kind of process those particular situations from a higher level of awareness. The moon is then going to make a positive interaction with Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings. He's in Taurus energy. It's a very low, slow build up to making some serious changes in our physical realms, especially where opportunity for growth and abundance are concerned. Now, this is a positive interaction, which means that we're hyping ourselves up. We're feeling pretty positive, pretty confident, I would say. We're feeling a lot more stable just because of this Taurus energy as well. And the moon in Cancer kind of interacting with Jupiter in this way is allowing us to kind of move in our inner realm and just contemplate where it is that we are reaching the limits of our comfort zone, where it is that we do have different options, different, let's call them opportunities, that we could start really exploring if and when we felt ready to start pushing the boundaries of what it is that we would like to close the door on, what it is that we would like to pursue instead. So overall, this is a positive interaction. It's actually going to show us from a positive lens some of the emotional attachments that we are currently holding on to very tightly with the moon in Cancer. And we can reframe it because we have the wisdom and the knowledge from our past experiences to actually kind of see where it is that things didn't happen to us, they happened for us. They have a direct connection to kind of helping us get prepared for this present moment, for our new quest, our new adventure, and moving forward when we're gifted with the green light, go ahead to do just that. The sun is then going to semi-square Chiron, the wounded healer. So this is definitely going to show us where it is that there are some triggers, There are some activations coming to the surface in order for us to realize where it is that we're having a little bit too many feels, especially when it comes to feeling raw and vulnerable, exposed, if you will. This is going to put us all in our feels because, of course, the sun needs us to feel it in order to heal it. The water energy of Pisces season is very transformative. Think of all the different forms that water can take on. It's the only element that can be a liquid, a gas, a solid, and then return through that cycle again, depending on the other elements that are applying the pressure in order to change the state within. This is an emotional time. This is a spiritual time. This is a karmic time. And right now, Chiron, the wounded healer, is exposing the wounds in order for us to feel them so that we can heal them, make the major change and transformation in our soul and our spirit, and get on with it. The last thing that we have going on here today is the moon in Cancer energy, making a awkward interaction with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, in Pisces energy. So again, water on water action, but this isn't necessarily the greatest feeling. It's not the worst, not the greatest. And what this is going to do is kind of give us time to explore where it is that we are being asked to kind of grow up, boss up, take control, take power back in our own lives, especially with what it is that we are pouring into, what it is that we're building, what it is that we want to create. But realistically speaking, this is going to kind of give us a little bit of a harsh reality check. It's going to put the pressure on us to show us where it is that we're desperately holding on to roles and responsibilities that we've already outgrown, that we can't learn anything else from. We've tapped out that particular learning potential, and give us a good, I'm going to say, nudge on realistically, why are we still holding on to something that we have no attachment to? Hint. This is programming. This is conditioning. This is doing a deep dive in your egoic self and understanding the falsities, the delusions, the fantasies, the lies in which you've been telling yourself in order for yourself to feel good about settling in a situation that you know damn well you shouldn't be in any longer. So although it doesn't feel good to have reality checks, sometimes it's needed, especially throughout Pisces season. We need these harsh reality checks to kind of jolt us out of Delulu land, anchor us back into the physical realm, because unless we are present in the moment, ready to kind of feel what it is that we need to heal, we are going to continue to repeat the same patterns and behaviors. And of course, we're at the point right now where we know we got to close the door on some things. We have to try something new in order to create a different result.